Hello, I'm Owen McCollim, and today I'll be answering the question provided to me from my professor, Robert Eddy, Dr. Robert Eddy. The question is, how do your racial identity and comfort level influence the people you work or study with? We're going to break this question down into three parts. I want to first answer the main body of the question, how my racial identity influences the people I work and study with. And as I've gone through this course and over the semester, I've learned that I didn't know too much about my own racial identity until recently. But over the years, as I've had 4 to 5 jobs-ish, and I've worked on a team in many jobs, I've learned that my racial identity has always intertwined with other people's and has worked really well in my social life. The next part I would like to break down is how my own rhetoric has developed as I've grown. Now, my own rhetoric since I was a kid to where I am now has developed vastly and has changed extremely. From when I was a kid, I did not really know how to go about cross-racial relationships because I was a child. But as I got into higher grades in elementary and then middle school and then eventually high school, where I was with more people of other races, I learned how to use rhetoric to build cross-racial relationships with my peers. The final part I'd like to answer of this question is how comfortable I am with my own racial identity. And at this current state and moment, I feel somewhat comfortable. At the beginning of this semester, I felt very comfortable with my own racial identity. But it is with the words of Dr. Eddy that I have learned many things in many ways in the way the white majority has done things. And now I feel somewhat comfortable because I know my race, but I'm not too comfortable with my own identity. But I think it is important to build and work on, and I'm doing that thanks to Robert Eddy. Another important thing I wanted to talk about was cross-racial relationships, not just for individuals, but as Americans as a whole. America is a country that was built on immigrants. It is built on cross-racial relationships, and the people of our country need to address how to build these cross-racial relationships better and make them stronger. The future generation of Americans is going to decide what happens with our country, and if we cannot identify our own actions of racism, whether it be intentional or not, it is important that we take steps in building these cross-racial relationships with one another. Professor Dr. Eddy has also provided much evidence and stated how colorblind, or seeing people as people and not for their race, and not both, not people and race and people, is important to building these cross-racial relationships, because saying you are colorblind to one's race is outright racist itself. In order to address cross-racial relationships, we have to address race itself and build from it, because being colorblind is not the solution, it is a part of the problem. And I believe it is imperative in our futures as the future generation of Americans that we build these cross-racial relationships in order to make our country a better place for our next generation.